The Irrational Confidence Podcast. It's Colorado, Nebraska. At time of record, Colorado is a 7.5-point underdog. Yes, Nebraska is the favorite. And over-under is set at 57.5. Did that a little bit differently there, Fresh. But, Fresh, can Colorado predict Shedeur?
We're going to find out. I mean, look at last year's game. Nebraska was extremely physical. They weren't talented on offense, but they were extremely physical, and that's what made our ball game. This year, second year in Matt Rule's system, got Raiola there at quarterback. I think that brings an extra dynamic. Plus, they're at home, and I'll tell you right now, that stadium, those fans, they've dealt with some stuff over the past 15 years, and they pack that place out every single Saturday there in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rowdy. It's a hated rivalry. Colorado, Nebraska goes back forever. When I grew up, I remembered the Friday of Thanksgiving weekend, sometimes even the Thursday of Thanksgiving. These two teams would face off either in Boulder or Lincoln. It'd be snowing. It'd be nasty. It'd be a fight. It's just old school Rocky Mountain Midwest, just anger. And I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of that on Saturday because Matt Rule's got to have a signature win. And this is a chance. What Colorado being the record is one thing, but beating Colorado, beating Deion, winning a rivalry game, finally gets this program back on track. And that's what they need. If they don't win this game, people are start asking, well, when's that going to come? Because the Big Ten's not getting any easier with the arrival of USC, Oregon, Washington, UCLA. You've got to have a signature win. And this is a chance where they can get a rivalry win, get themselves to 2-0, and keep building off of that. It's a unique scenario, though. This game, both these quarterbacks have NFL dads. Obviously, we know about Shedeur, but then Raiola comes in, highly touted, been around the block a few times in the recruiting, process. His dad was a legend there in Nebraska. He is brought in here to win games like this, to light this offense on fire in a good way, not a bad way like a dollar bill when you're betting on LSU in Las Vegas. He needs to show up, make the big boy throws. This Colorado defense is not very good. As long as you avoid number 12 on the other side wearing the Buffalo's jersey, you should have success. But you've got to embrace the moment. Do not let it become too big for yourself. Play within the system. Make the throws, especially on third down. This Colorado defense is nothing to be scared of. Nothing to be scared of. Warren Sapp and Deion should be embarrassed to be on the sideline coaching this team because this team cannot tackle. They cannot stop a nosebleed. Outside of Travis Hunter, who is an absolute beast. You have a chance here to get a W in a big way, but you need to manage the game. Line of scrimmage, do what North Dakota State did. Line of scrimmage ball game, play action, but run the ball down Colorado's throat. If you could do that and make the throws on third down, Nebraska's going to be in great shape. Defensively, be physical with Jimmy Horn Jr. and Travis. You're not going to stop Travis Hunter, but you've got to contain him. But be physical with the rest of the receivers. Get after Shedeur, contain him. Don't let him break loose on the edge, and that's how you win this football game. Physicality in football still matters, folks. Line of scrimmage dominance still matters. North Dakota State took it to Colorado and punched him in the mouth all night long. Colorado got lucky to win that ball game. The refs there were some terrible calls going in favor of Colorado all night long. If those things happen differently, we're talking about an 0-1 Buffalo team and real panic setting in. This is a big chance right now for Nebraska. I think the crowd plays up to the emotions. I think this game is a slow starting football game. It'll grind it out, and eventually Nebraska will win the ball game. Well, Nebraska will not cover, though. Take Colorado on the points. Nebraska won't cover. They'll win a sloppy game, win by 3, but they will get the W, and Matt Rule will get a first signature win there for the Cornhuskers.
Wow. Did not expect that from you, Fresh. I really didn't there. You threw me for a loop as we're coming through here. I'm looking at this football game, and I'm looking at all the things Colorado's done since Sanders has got there. And, it's an interesting approach that he's taken to Colorado. And he's done a great job of recruiting the skill position players he within the transfer portal and getting them to move over. The problem is that Colorado has not invested enough into their offensive line to be a proficient team and really be a world beater in FBS. Yeah, they're going to win some games. They're going to look good, and they're going to have some highlight reels because their skill position players are some of the best in the entire country. The problem is that they don't have the offensive line that they need to be very successful in, especially in a game like this. You take a look at last week. Colorado's got to run the football a little bit better. 2.6 yards a carry is not going to cut it, especially versus Nebraska. if they can start running the football, and a lot of that is going to fall on Sanders' shoulders of being able to scramble, get outside of the pocket, and take off and be a dual threat quarterback, I'm looking a lot of them needing him to be Superman in this game to win this football game, because you're not going to get a lot more from the running backs that you have. Travis Hunter, like you said, dude is an absolute phenom. He's a stud. Every NFL team is going to be drooling over that kid, getting him into the league next year. But Sanders has got to have time to throw and get to him. Whether that means that they're going to have to keep a tight end in every single play, whether they're going to have to roll the coverage or what have you, that's going to be one of the things that they're going to do. As for Nebraska, it's going to be what kind of follow-up performance are we going to get from them. They had a very nice win to the season. Everyone's pointing at Dylan Raiola and saying, look at how great this true freshman did at his dad's alma mater as first-year quarterback there. He had a nice game, 70% completion. That's very, very admirable, especially against the competition that he's going to do. But the one thing I was looking at, I need to know if Colorado is going to be able to stop this Cornhuskers rushing attack. That is what I think that Nebraska fans are going to get real excited for. They ran the ball 47 times last week for 223 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that, just like you said to lead it off there, Fresh, Colorado's defense can't stop a nosebleed. You're going to run the football, run it down their throats, and kind of Raiola is going to have to be there just to kind of throw it around just so they don't stack 9 in the box against your run game. It's going to be a nice-looking game for Nebraska, how this one sets up. The only way it's going to get ugly in my eyes is if Nebraska, for some reason, can't run block and Colorado's game penetration into that backfield there. A big matchup I'm looking at, I really liked Isaiah Nair last week. Come back from a rough couple of years. He had a great 21, 22, 23. He's non-existent, dealt with injuries, all sorts of stuff. It's great to see him have 6 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown last week. I'm looking forward to seeing how he matches up against Travis Hunter. In the end, I think Nebraska, way better in the trenches, offensively, defensively. Think that it's going to be kind of like them showing off that black shirt defense. I hope that comes back and really makes a name for itself for Nebraska. No hate towards Colorado, because I really don't have that strong of opinion on Coach Prime and all of that stuff. I don't want to come off like anything like that. But Nebraska fan base is one of those fan bases that I have a whole lot of respect for, what they've done in the past and how passionate they are about their team. They stick with that team. They deserved better than they got with Scott Frost, as we talked about a couple years ago. They got great coach in Matt Rule. I think Nebraska wins this game by 2 scores. I think it's at least a double-digit game in this. Yep.
Blowout City?
Not blowout city. I'm going to say 10 plus.
Okay.
I'll go 10 plus.
The only way, in my opinion, that Colorado wins this football game, turnovers, short field, quick touchdowns. Right. Nebraska, you have to get long drives, control the clock. Your time possession is just as important as to helping your defense. You have to keep the ball, run the ball, drain it down, and then make Colorado's offense panic. When they panic, a 3-and-out becomes boom. They're back on the field defensively, and then it kind of avalanches from there. That's the only way that Colorado can win, is they get quick scores off the turnovers on the short field.
Right. I think this is going to be a fun one to watch. Definitely get ready for it. It's a great rivalry, and especially if you're a 20-something-year-old kid watching this right now, you don't realize how great this rivalry was at one point. You guys, Colorado's known for having Coach Prime. Colorado used to be a powerhouse in college football, and same with Nebraska. Nebraska a little more recently, but these were 2 blue bloods at one point of college football.
Colorado had a natty in the early 90s.
Yep, so did Nebraska, mid-90s. Back-to-back, right?
Yep.
If I remember